What up? What up? What up? What's going on? How y'all doing, YouTube? What's happening? It's Josh back with another video, another live stream. I'm excited today. You know what I'm saying? I want to talk about something, a little bit dealing with Linux. I appreciate you guys coming through. If you can, go on and hit that like button. Um, Today, I wanted to talk about this new botnet that's affecting SSH servers. And I just want to cover like the importance of protecting your Linux servers. I know it's a lot of new users that hop on and hop into Linux and they want to set up a server in the cloud or a server somewhere. Well, it's certain security measures that you have to take in order to prevent these servers from getting hacked. And like now it's a new botnet out there that's going after specifically Linux servers, uh, and they're hitting at the specific port 22 for SSH. And so I just wanted to, I don't know, cover this article. I seen my man Professor Black Ops did a video covering it. I shared it a while back. You know what I'm saying? And he did a very thorough breakdown of it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just covering it as well. You know what I'm saying? So you guys can be aware at least, and then I'll walk through a few ways to protect yourself. You know what I'm saying? Or protect your servers at the end of the day. But shout out to everybody that's here, man. Go on and like the video. Go on and say something in the comments. You know what I'm saying, if you want to. But salute to you for actually coming through, and listening to this. So let's switch over to my browser so you guys can see what I'm talking about. All right, cool. So it's the article, and let me go on and drop it in the chat. Um, Boom. And I know this not a normal time. I normally go live. I normally go live a little bit earlier. I had some stuff going on this weekend, that I had to take care of. But we gonna keep it rocking. You know what I'm saying? But it says new Linux botnet Rapperbot brute forces SSH servers. And it says Rapperbot is a new botnet employed in attacks since mid-June 2022 that targets Linux SSH servers with brute force attacks. Now it says researchers from 40 Guard Labs have discovered a new IoT botnet. So that lets you know right there they're using IoT devices. And hold on, let me see. I don't know if you guys can see this. Let me know if you can see this. I'll zoom in a little bit so you guys can see the text on the screen. That way we can, because the text is kind of small. So that should be good. Hopefully, you guys let me know if you can see it. If you can, whatever. But it says researchers from 40 Guard Labs have discovered a new IoT botnet tracked as Rapperbot, which is active since mid-June 2022. The bot borrows a large portion of its code from the original Mari botnet. But unlike other IoT malware families, it implements a built-in capability to brute force credentials and gain access to SSH servers instead of Telnet. So originally the Mari botnet was created to go after Telnet servers. And if you guys don't know what Telnet is, it was kind of like an older way of connecting remotely to servers using Telnet. It's a different port. Can't remember what the port is off the top of my head, but it's Telnet. That's the actual service. Well, they're going after those SSH servers, so they just changed it in the code, so it'll push to go after SSH servers. Um, and I actually got a video I just did about this. Oh, and shout out to you, AA. You can see it. Cool. And peace to you, Soul Avery. What's up, man? Peace to you. Um, Now it says, unlike the majority of Mari variants, which natively brute force telnet servers using default or weak passwords, Rapperbot exclusively scans and attempts to brute force SSH servers and configure to accept password authentication. So that's where the vulnerability is right there. Password authentication. So if you're using SSH on your servers and you only have it set up for password authentication, I thought Telnet was a different port. Maybe I'm wrong. Hold on, I see AA. Let me look it up right fast. I can't remember Telnet ports. Yeah, port 44 is Telnet, I think. Let me make sure. Telnet port number, or hold on, let me make sure. Telnet. Oh, 23. Okay. All right. Telnet port is 23 based on what I'm reading right here. Yeah, Telnet port number is 23. So it's 23, which is what they use for Telnet. Telnet service is available on port 2023 of the host machine. So yeah, you're right. So they just changed it up where it's looking at port 2020. I mean, I'm finna say 2022, but 22, which is SSH. All right, let me see. And shout out to you, Steve's very own. Good to see you in the building. Definitely appreciate you coming through. It says the bulk of the malware code contain an implementation of an SSH 2.0 client that can connect and brute force any SSH server that supports Diffie-Hellman key exchange 768 bits or 2048-bit keys and data encryption using AES-128 CTR. Now I can't remember Diffie-Hellman because I researched this a while back. I think that's the encryption protocol, I believe. Let's pull it up right fast. Diffie-Hellman key exchange is a method of securely exchanging cryptographic keys over a public channel and was one of the first public key protocols as conceived by Ralph Merkle. Okay, all right. So it's that's essentially what Diffie-Hellman is. So let's get out of that. Boom. All right, and it says a distinctive feature of the brute force implementation in Rapperbot is to use the SSH 2.0 hello world to identify itself to the target SSH server during the SSH protocol exchange phase. Oh man, shout out to Gabe Bay. I salute to you, brother. You know, I definitely appreciate you. I know you're busy out there, man. You know, changing lives, getting people into the the cybersecurity field. If you guys didn't know, Gabe A has an excellent channel that covers cybersecurity, how to get into cybersecurity, and it covers a various types of topics dealing with cybersecurity. So if you guys trying to get into the cyber field, he definitely has a great channel where he puts out a lot of great information, to help you guys. But let's see, back to the article. He says earlier samples of malware had to brute force credentials, or had the brute forcing credentials list hard coded into binary. Okay, so brute force credentials list. So that the list was hard coded into the binary. And I'm sure, hey, with lists, if you put them in there hard coded, lists take up a lot of space. You know what I'm saying? Like the password list, they take up a lot of space if that's what they're talking about. But it says, but from July, these samples started retrieving the list from a C2 server. Okay, so credentials list, is on a C2 server somewhere where it's remotely accessing it. So that's crazy. And that makes sense. I mean, you can separate everything by putting it putting a password list or credentials list on a SQL server or something, MySQL server. and then just access it remotely from the application. So that's what they're doing, it looks like. Now it says since mid-July, Rapperbot started using self-propagating to maintain remote access into the brute force servers. Now, this is one of the interesting parts I saw, because they're basically setting up persistence. If you guys don't know what persistence is, it's basically setting it up where you can connect to the server no matter what the user does. So if you reboot the server, you know what I'm saying? Well, not whenever, not everything, because if they remove it or remove the access or find the access keys, then um, you obviously don't have persistence anymore. But it's just a way of keeping a constant connection to the server, even if it's rebooted or whatever. Which most people, when they run into issues or they see their system being compromised, one of the first things they tend to do is reboot the system. Well, persistence is set up on the server so they can constantly, or the botnet can constantly connect back to the server once it gets the access to the server. You know what I'm saying? But it says the botnet runs a shell command to replace the remote victim's SSH authorized keys with one containing the threat actor's SSH public key with the comment "Hello World." Yeah, and that's crazy right there. You know what I'm saying? They basically killing your access to the server and creating a persistent connection to the server so they can always access it. And it says once stored public keys stored in the SSH authorized keys, anyone with the compromised private key can authenticate the SSH server without supplying a password. And that's one of the ways I want you guys to actually set up your SSH servers when you, I don't know, either setting up a lab or something to that effect. You want to make sure you do key authentication and turn off password authentication, because that'll essentially stop this whole process. They're basically going to set up your server the way you should have set it up if you had, password authentication, enabled. Because look right here, this is the only way they can get into it based on what I'm reading, and based on the article. They brute force, and they're looking for SSH servers configured to accept password authentications. A lot of times people will set up a server and they don't really go in and think about security, and they don't set up keys, and they probably have some form of a password on it that's not that tough, and all they need is one time and they'll get into your server and take access to it. Now, the only thing you could do, especially if it's like in the cloud, the only thing you can do at that point is delete the virtual machine. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I wanted to tie this whole video, because I'm going to go into that as well. But like virtual machines, I'm going to show you guys one of the virtual machines I got on Google Cloud Platform, and how I have it configured as well using fail to ban and all other services and changes that I made to the SSH in order to protect it. Now, I'm getting ahead of myself. But Rapperbot is also able to retain its foothold on any device on which it executed by appending the same aforementioned SSH key to the local SSH authorized keys on the infected device upon execution. This allows the malware to maintain its access to the infected device via SSH, and that's what that means. Maintain access, persistence. That's essentially what that is. Even after the device reboots or the removal of Rapperbot from the device. So yeah, you just got to get rid of those keys if it gets compromised, if you can access the machine anymore. You know what I'm saying? Now it says in the latest Rapperbot sample, the malware also stated adding the root user su helper. So that's another thing that it does when it gets in there. It writes user account. And if you guys have played around with Linux to the point like Linux administration, this is a file that you don't want them to have access to. It's your password file and the shadow directory. If someone gets into that, you know what I'm saying, and change up things, they get access to it, then yeah, you kind of screwed. Now it says further allowing the threat actor to take complete control of the device, continues the report. In conjunction, it adds the root user account every hour by writing the following script. So it creates a cron job. If you guys, I did a video on cron that covers how to set up a cron job. It's essentially like in Windows Server, you got your, what is it called, task scheduler, where you can go in and set a task to run or a script to run at a certain time on the server. Well, cron is essentially that same application, but for Linux. And what it does is it'll run a command or a script or whatever you have set within that, that cron job. It'll run that whenever you have it set. So it runs it every hour just to make sure that it stays in that file. You know what I'm saying? Now it says in the event that the other users or botnet attempt to remove their accounts from the victim system. So, and this is a diagram. It was super cool. Let me just hit accept. So you guys can see the diagram, but I thought this was super cool. It just kind of explains the whole process. So this is the the bad person or the bad actor, remote access to the C2 server, which has the credentials list and receives commands. And essentially these are the bots right here. And it just breaks it down. The bot, it connects to get the credentials list instead of the credential list being here. And then this is some of the tasks that it does. Scans for SSH servers. So that's like when I did the video on fail to ban, I was talking about how as soon as you connect the server to the internet, they got bots out there that's looking for SSH servers. And this is exactly what this is doing. It scans for SSH servers and then it starts brute forcing using those credentials that it got from the C2 server. And then add the SSH key on success for persistence. And then also, let's see down here, it says add SSH key and then as root user. So that's another thing that it does. And then UDP DOS and TCP stomp and DDoS targets. It also does that. And let's see, the loader server, and then installs Rapperbot on the server. Okay. So once it gets access, then yeah, they can do what they need from there. Yep. Now it says earlier versions of the bot had strings of plain text. Subsequent once added extra obfuscation to the strings by building them on the stack to avoid detection. Since mid-June, the botnet used over 3,500 unique IP addresses worldwide. And this is one thing that failed to ban looks for. It looks for the same IP address, hitting your server, multiple times. It depends on how you have it configured. But what they're using, since it's a botnet, it's kind of hard for fail to ban to actually catch it. But like I said, we're gonna have password authentication turned off so we can stop this whole process. Even with fail to ban, and really fail to ban, all it is a way to make the people get tired of trying to brute force your server. But at this end of at the end of the day, now they're using a botnet. It's all automated. You know what I'm saying? So they won't get tired. But fail to ban will do the best it can to try to catch as many of these multiple IP addresses that are scanning your servers. But password authentication turned off, you get to go. And attempt brute forcing Linux SSH servers with SSH 2.0 Hello World client identification string. Most of the IPs are from the US and Taiwan and South Korea. And yeah, that's one thing you can do. You can, I'm not sure where you can do it from, but you can block IPs from a specific location. Like You don't want to do it in the U.S. Obviously, especially if you're in the U.S. But like overseas countries, you could block a whole region of IP addresses from connecting to your server. No, I can't remember how to do it. I mean, I know it'll be a lot of IP addresses, but there are some IP addresses out there that you can block, like, you know, and not to pick on China, but block uh, IP addresses coming from China. You know what I'm saying? So, South Korea, you know, North Korea, all that stuff. So, um, but anyway, like I said, this was an interesting article. I wanted to cover it. My man, Professor Black Ops, I already kind of covered it. That's why I shared his video. He kind of got to it before me. You know, I seen the article when it first came out, but he got to it before me, put it out there. So I just shared it out, you know, so he can, you know, get some views over there as well, talking about the same topic. And I just kind of decided to do a live stream on it, just covering it as well. Now, virtual machines. I just wanted to show you Google Cloud Platform a little bit. I did a video on it a while back, and I know it looks confusing, but I do have like one virtual machine up here in Google Cloud Platform. And once you go to Google, it's basically cloud.google.com. They give you, I think they give you like 100 free days, or I mean, $100 that you use right off, and that's similar to, um, you know, all these cloud platforms. And AWS, they give you like a certain amount of time free when you first sign up. Trying to think of the other ones, um, but anyway, Compute Engine. And this is where I have my websites. I have my website stored out here. Um, and they're under my Compute Engine. And you see your VM instances listed here. Now I can show you guys how to create a instance if you want to. You just hit create instance. It'll bring up basically a process of filling out the information, kind of like the estimated monthly cost, depending on what you're doing with it, the locations, the region, all that stuff. And I typically name it what it's actually being used for. And then you can pick your machine types. It all depends on what you're actually doing. I don't know what the cheapest anymore because it didn't kind of changed up on me. They constantly changing this thing. I think based on availability. And then you can pick your region, like I said, depending on where you are located. This is central. You could do West, not South America. Hold on. So there we go, U.S. So you look for U.S. West. So let's pick Oregon and see what pops up. It changes the price. And they have different zones. So A zone, C zone, B zone. So, but that's the amounts that it's saying. I'm not sure why it's saying so much. Might be because of my memory settings. Oh, right here. Machine type. So E2, and then trying to remember the cheapest one. Custom. Let's see the micro or the small. I use a micro, I believe. But just to show you guys, like $7 a month. So what, $70 a year? That's, you know, nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot to some, but you know what I'm saying. That's not that much money to run your own website, because back in the day, I used to use hosting at like companies like HostGator. What's the other one where you buy the domains from? GoDaddy. Man, it's like what, $150 a year, $300 a year, depending on what you're doing. You know, if you want like unlimited domains or something. Because at one point I was trying to sell websites or build websites for people as well as host those websites for them. So it's like $300 a year, you know, or it might have been more than that. I can't remember how much it was. It was expensive. No, about $300 for like 2 years or something like that. Whatever I paid for it, it was like overly expensive. But $70 a year, you know what I'm saying? And it's actually cheaper than that, depending on how much the server is being used. And then you can scale up with this stuff. You can get a cheaper server, and then you can make changes to the type. You can add more, memory, more cores, all that stuff to the actual system. So it's dope. But anyway, I just wanted to quickly kind of show you guys what you could do with this. You know what I'm saying? This is a balanced persistence disk. It's 10 gigabytes. You could select the image. So that was one thing I wanted to show you guys. You could put Linux up here. And also deploy containers. That's new. I didn't know you could do that. But let's change this up and let's see what operating systems they got. Because that's Debian. I know the one I selected was, I set up my other one using Ubuntu. I wonder if they don't have Ubuntu on here no more. Looks like it. I guess you can only set up Debian. They changed that up. And just to show you right fast. Hold on, let's see. Or maybe I'm looking under the wrong, the wrong thing. And maybe you can only select that operating system because of the size of the computer that you're using. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm getting a text. But anyway, so you can set up your instance. You know what I'm saying? Dang, they didn't change this thing all the way up. All right, well, let me go into mine right fast. Let's just cancel that. So this is my server that I'm hosting all my websites on. And I just kind of wanted to show you guys how I got it set up. Let's see, I got the E2 small. And I don't know if you guys remember it said like $25 a month. Let me show you how much I paid for this instance. Let's see, let's go back. Let's go back up in here. So billing report. I pay about $12 a month, I believe. Yeah, $12. So it's forecasting $12, but let me see how much. I know it's and their platform is like really confusing, to be honest. It's once you get the hang of it, you get the hang of it, but it's a little confusing, like the way they have their platform set up. Let's see, let's go to monthly. No, that's daily. That's the bar. Oh, I gotta change up my dates, I think, that I'm looking at. Invoice dates. Let's see, from July to July. Yeah, from July to July. So I paid about $12.70 last month for this server. So about $120 the year. And actually it was less than that, because all right, let's do from, let's see, can we go back? Let's go from January to now. Or actually, let's look from July to July. So July 2021 to 2022. All right, so I've been using a lot more, but I paid about $102. At this point, I really didn't have much traffic. I had some right here in the beginning, and I think that might have been, I don't remember when I set the server up, but I'm not sure. Oh, that might have been when I got hacked, because this server actually got hacked one time via WordPress. So I don't like to, recommend WordPress anymore unless you really know what you're doing. But I know at one point it got hacked, or it might have been at this point right here where I was getting a lot of hits, CPU usage. I found it out rather quickly, and I killed the issue that was in the server. It was with WordPress. But anyway, oh, and shout out BMT. What's up, Citizen Loot? Oh man, Nick Taylor Good to see you, brother. How you doing, man? Yeah, BMT, man. Salute to you, bro. For real. He says, just watching the Black Tech squad. Yeah, for sure, man. I appreciate it. I'm always watching over there, watching you, man, with those awesome conversations you be having. What's up, and Lou, man? I enjoyed the premiere this morning. That was awesome. You know what I'm saying? It was a good video, bro. I look forward to hearing you, do a couple more of those. You know what I'm saying? That was dope. That was real dope. Um, let's see. So, oh, and then I could have changed it up right here. Monthly. There we go. So monthly. So at one point I was paying about what, $9? 58 cents, $10, $12. So, it kind of jumps around depending on the amount of people that are hitting your site. You know what I'm saying? But lately it's been around $12, 12.48, something like that. So $12, for this one server. And like I said, it ain't just my website on it. I got multiple people websites. Like my mother-in-law got a site on there that I host. Um, I don't know if you guys know, but my wife does YouTube as well. And she also has a business where she sells like beauty products and all that stuff or whatever to women or whatever. And so I got a website for her as well. And then also she has a Shopify. That's where she sells most of her stuff. Like all the all the women stuff. Body butters and all this other crap she sells. But she does good with it. You know what I'm saying? But I have her website, her other website over there hosted. Well, two of them. So it's like multiple websites running on this one server. You know what I'm saying? And this was a whole lot cheaper. I think I was paying, now that I think about it, it's like 250. You know what I'm saying? Hosting with HostGator. And then that's not including the domains, all that, domains are cheap, but um I don't know. It's been fluctuating over the years. It's been going up over the years, the default amount. And it also depends on, you know, um the type of domain you get. So anyway, I don't want to go that deep into it, but that's how much I paid, on Google Cloud. Now, I also wanted to bring up Linode because I also have virtual machines over there, which I need to get back into it. But they also had the same thing over there, where they give you like like a introductory amount, like $100 or $50 or something like that. When you first sign up. But you can set up your what they call a nose, but it's essentially a virtual machine. Um, but it's super simple to set up over here as well. Let's see, this Nextcloud thing, it's been running for a while. This one's been running for a good amount of time. I'm trying to see um, the pricing because I may have to go to my billing section or something. But anyway, let's see. I don't really want to show y'all my account information. I don't know what it's gonna bring up. Let me go over here and bring up my account information. But yeah, this server right here, I think I set it up, is using Nextcloud. So I have my own Nextcloud server, so I can connect my phone to it, back up my pictures and all that stuff, and it's stored over here on the node, which I could have done it on GCP, Google Cloud Platform, but I just did it over there as well. But this is a great way of spending a little bit of money a month to test your skills, or practice your skills, or if you don't have the hardware at the house, because hardware is expensive, it's hard to come by. You know what I'm saying? Let's say you gotta, I don't know, practice for an exam or practice for whatever you're trying to take, or learn for work. Then you can set up your own personal little virtual machine, and learn what you actually trying to learn right up there. And just to show you guys, and actually let's update this thing because I know it's not updated. Crap. Just gonna open up another window and you guys ain't gonna be able to see it. So let's switch over to Let's see, and this thing got 2004 on here. So let's see what we got here. See if I can show you guys this. Hermes. Boom. Let's see if we can get this thing up right here. Boom. Yeah, that'll work. Boom. There we go. So once you click on the server, you connect to it via, you know, a login screen. It's essentially, it's a virtual terminal or a terminal in the browser. It's called Weblish. I don't even know what the password is for this thing. Yeah, I'm sure it's got updates, but anyway, I'll just run those updates right fast. So sudo apps update, and you probably can't see this thing because it's super small, but let's just run it anyway. But this is Ubuntu 20.04. See, upgrade -y, boom. And I got another platform now I run some stuff on too that I won't show you guys today, but yeah, I got some stuff over there. Well, somewhere else as well. But essentially, it's just like running this thing locally. You know what I'm saying? You spend a couple bucks a month, you can get all the training you want on a server. If you run into issues, you can just rebuild the machine. That was one thing I was gonna show you. Let me go back there right fast while that thing is running. But let's say this server got jacked up, and let's say you don't want to, you know, mess up the IP address. You want to keep the same IP address. Well, you click right here. All you gotta do is hit rebuild. It'll rebuild that server for you. You know what I'm saying? And you can start from scratch. You know. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you're gonna have to go back and reconfigure everything, but you at least have everything rebuilt. I mean, you had a server rebuilt, and you can go through whatever you're trying to learn from there. So that's one cool thing about, you know, using one of these platforms. Yeah, and all they did was I'm a reboot this server, but let's go down and close that though. We don't need it no more. I just kind of wanted to show you guys you can connect to it though via their little, you know, Weblish, so you can connect to it. And it's very simple to set up on Linode. Let me show you guys this. I've done videos for Linode. They actually, you know, kind of sponsor the channel as well. But what I was gonna show you guys. Let's see their marketplace. So let's go through and show you that right fast. So you can set up, and this was one cool thing I wanted to show you guys. And I'll show you guys that in a second. But you got a whole bunch of apps you can go through and set up. You know what I'm saying? Apps for days. You know, like crazy apps for days. So Joomla, you can set up a Joomla. Um, MongoDB, you need a database server. You need a MySQL server. You can set that up. Node.js. OpenVPN server. You can set up your own VPN server. You know, up here, Plex, and this is all pre-configured. So when you click it and run through the install, it's gonna ask you for passwords and certain things. And actually, let me show you guys right fast. Let's go to, I don't know, let's do MarianDB. So we click on MarianDB. If you go down to the bottom, it's gonna ask you for all the information that you want. Basically, you can select what version you want installed on it. So, or not what version, but which one you want installed. So, MySQL, you know, or the MarianDB or MarianDB. Type in MySQL password, you know, MySQL users, passwords, you know, a test database, then limited pseudo user that's created, and then you do have a API token you can put in there, and some of this stuff is optional. You can disable root access by SSH right there. Set up a subdomain, domain. And then this is the cool part. You select whatever image that you want. Well, maybe they only allow you to choose Ubuntu on this one. Okay, so they only allow you to choose a specific image. And the way this works is it essentially running a script. And it's building out the server for you. So once you make all your selections, and I didn't show you the rest of it, but they got, you know, your regions, just like I showed you guys on GCP. You can select your regions, you know, where you want the server running. I mean, most likely the closest to you. You got your dedicated CPUs, shared CPUs. Those are cheaper, but I pay about $5 a month over here as well. You know what I'm saying? Because the servers that I have over there, they have limited usage. I'm the only one that actually use them. I use one for like a lot of videos that I do, and the other one, like I said, is just to store files every now and then that I don't want going into like my Google account or something like that. That I want to still save in the cloud. But you got your GPU ones, and they're expensive, like 1,000 a month, 2,000 a month, 3,000 a month because they're fast. But high memory, shared CPU is gonna be your cheapest. You know what I'm saying? Dedicated CPU, you know, $30 a month or so, and then you can create a label. This is essentially the label. Then you create your root account. You can also add your SSH keys up here, and then VLANs if you need VLANs, and then they have backups, private IPs, all that good stuff. And all you have to do is hit create Linode, and then it'll run through the process. It takes roughly, I don't know, it all depends. Well, with MySQL, it shouldn't take long. So I would say like 10 minutes, not even that, bro. Like 3 or 4 minutes for the server to come up. And then once it's up, it'll be listed under your nodes as running. You can go in, connect to it, and everything you set within that, you know, all those questions that it asks you when you're setting up the server, you log into it, and you should be able to use all those accounts that you created. So super dope, super dope. But pretty much that's all I got for you guys. I knew it wasn't gonna be that many people, but it's cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm here to just try to put out information as much as I can, or try to, I don't know, try to help people that may have questions. But if anybody has any questions, you can feel free to leave, you know, comments down in the, you know, not comments, but leave some in the chat, or ask me. You know what I'm saying? I got a couple people coming through for interviews in the future. Or if anybody wants to come up, that's another thing. You can come up. We could talk about, you know, some of this stuff if you want to, you know, SSH servers, or, you know, anything to that um, level. You know what I'm saying? If you just trying to learn, you know what I'm saying? You can actually come up. I'll drop a link for anybody that actually want to come up. Let me get this set up right fast in case somebody want to do it. I doubt anybody, you know, want to come up. If you do, just let me know. You know what I'm saying? I'll drop the link. Actually, I'm gonna drop it regardless. Let's see. All right, let me drop the link for anybody that may want to come up and possibly talk about this. Let's see. You got any questions or whatever, and you want to come up and just kick it or something and talk about, you know, Linux or something to that effect, or setting up one of these, if you have a cloud platform or something like that, um you know, or if you use one of these cloud platforms, you know what I'm saying, kind of let me know, or we could talk about it. Let's see if we can get this thing going. There we go. All right. So yeah, hit the link if you want to come up, man. If you want to come up, you can definitely join and we could talk about this a little bit. Boom. There we go. All right. All right. Thanks, Google. I got all the information that y'all changes y'all made to the system. Okay. All right. Cool. So I got it set up now. So if anybody do decide to come up, you can. I doubt anybody want to come up. Hey, I'm gonna go down and end it. unless you coming up, let me know in the chat if you coming up, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to stick around if ain't nobody coming up. Actually, let's fix this. Uh-oh. My man. Hold on one second. Let me fix this. Right now it's tripping. I gotta switch to that and then switch back. Panel. See if I can get you up there. Boop. There we go. Oh yeah, I can hear you.
That's cool, man. That SSH, everybody use SSH, so you know that a lot of people gonna got with that one. I think.
Yeah.
That's just so common, man.
Exactly.
The cool thing is, I'm on my AWS kick. They got something called System Manager where you can do that without a SSH server. They manage it out behind the scenes. It goes to some hidden ports on it that that you can't even see behind the scenes. So they trying to get around that with their thing that's called a System Manager.
Okay.
Because that's the first thing you do, like set up your Bastion host, SHN, and try to go to your other tiers or whatever, work on your database or whatever. And so when I saw that, I was like, man, a lot of people gonna get got with that one.
Exactly. Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah, like I seen your video and I was like, man, I need to cover that as well. I seen the article as well and I was like, man, that's interesting, you know what I'm saying? But this is, to be honest, this has been going on for a long time, like anytime you set up a SSH server, it's typically just individuals though. It's normally not like a botnet, so that's what made this so interesting.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Like you said, it's usually an individual, but that's one reason they hack hack those boxes though, to set up those botnets, those herds when they're ready to take somebody out. They be having 10,000 computers around the world attacking you and you try to figure out, what's happening. And the people on the boxes half the time don't even know their machine is part of the botnet in the herd. That's the crazy part about it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's interesting, man. So, let me ask you this. So, well, I know you using AWS. So, do you have like Linux servers set up where got them protected, and how you got them protected?
Yeah, that's all I do. Oh yeah, that's all I run is Linux, man. The only Windows gonna be in my setup is what's on the desktop to get to them. But the standard thing with AWS, you get security groups, NACLs for your subnets, right? Then on top of that, you can run. They got stuff called guard duty. It actually look through your logs to figure out if a threat is already on your box, so it can figure out how the threat's moving, so it can email you, and let you know. So I probably got I'm trying to learn, so I probably got every protection AWS got I set up to tear it down, man. So so I could practice. But I usually go with the standard instance firewalls, which is IP tables that they're kind of running for you, which is standard. Then the straight NACLs from a network standpoint is what they have. Then they actually have their their firewall you can spin up to actually, if you're on multiple regions around the world, they have a virtual firewall you can set up called AWS Firewall Manager. So at the infrastructure level, that's usually what I use to set up.
Okay. Yeah. Cause now have you done it like production wise, I mean, like have you configured, yeah, and I know you have. I just want to hear.
No. The weird thing is, I have in the past, and I do it more on labs. Is in the real world, I do compliance, man. And my boss told me he didn't want me touching computers. He paid me too much. So I work on a big company for a state agency. So there's a whole network infrastructure team. So I usually put in tickets to tell them from a compliance standpoint. I do a lot of work with DoD and the Fed. So I tell them how I need to be set up, but I don't get to touch boxes much anymore, man. So I
Yeah.
do it more as a hobby. And two is, since I do compliance and it got to be federal, I like to set it up so I know what actually happens. But we got a whole Cisco team where so I don't really get to touch the boxes like that. We have a whole network infrastructure team that those Cisco guys get paid, man. They ain't gonna let me touch them boxes. But like once again, like I do it at AWS, and I spin up a lot of labs because once again I do actually federal compliance. So I like to set it up so when I ask people what I want them to do, I kind of at least understand it at a high level. So, so really, like I said, I work for, how you just work for the big clients, man. They don't let me touch their boxes. But once again, from an AWS perspective, I lab every day, so I understand it. And actually, I think I'm gonna move from compliance to infrastructure. But even when I work with our AWS team, they got a whole team that just set up the networking part, man. They just don't let because if you mess it up, the whole company will be toast, right? When you're in those big production environments. So, in real world, lab, and I'm cool with those guys. So they let me in the lab sometime, but nah, man, they don't let me touch that, even in AWS and our production site. Because I work for the state of Indiana, so each agency uses that network VPC infrastructure. So if I mess it up, the whole state could go down. So nah, man, they don't let me touch that in real
life. Yeah, that's crazy. Now hold on, let me see what is this person saying? Optimistically cynical. I took my son to the park. That sounds like a troll.
That's
the
a
name,
troll, man.
yeah. Okay, autoerotic asphyxiation. Come on, man. What are you talking about? All right.
Get them out of there.
Yeah.
I gotta work on my nightbot skills, man. Nightbot should be taken out, man. I gotta work on my nightbot skills.
Yeah. Hey, so what's up, Alonzo? How you doing, man? Salute to you as well. Good to see you in the building, bro. Let me see. So it was something else I was talking about. Have you ever seen this Linode platform?
I have just a little bit because I read about it, but once again, I'm old and boring. At the government, they really only let you use Red Hat. They finally letting us use Ubuntu. Long story. I mean, the STIGs. There's STIGs available for both of those. If it ain't no STIGs where I work at, we can't use it. So I usually deal with Red Hat, and Ubuntu is kind of what we use. And I'm old school, so I do a lot of compliance work. So I usually only let people use Red Hat, man. So that's traditional and it's been out there forever. And two is in the government, you got to have paid support in case a bug comes out. So a lot of those smaller, they do have support and the people doing that. But we know there's a lot of companies that do Red Hat support, and Red Hat, that's how they make their money's own support. So that's one reason we pick Red Hat, because you got to have support. Because if it's a security bug or something's going left, we need to be able to get that, fixed. A lot of times if you wait on the community, you could be waiting. So that's one reason we pick those known distros like that, even though they're old and boring.
Oh yeah, and Linode is actually not a distro. It's a cloud platform. Yeah. So, and yeah, I get it. It's only if they don't have no documentation on it or support, they're not gonna use it on their platform. So I understand that.
Yeah, because too is and I tell people that the reason on my platform I try to do that, because that's where the money's is, right? When you when you go for the government and you go for those big consulting companies, that's usually what they want to work on, because that's what usually the government signs off on.
Yeah,
is that the weird thing is Amazon actually is a fork of Red Hat, but they got STIGs for and everything, because Amazon wants that Fed money, so they did this things for the government. It said this is what you can use on our platform, even though we fork Red Hat. This is what you need to lock it down. So I think a lot of people get comfortable with it. So I do a lot with Amazon Linux too. It's kind of their platform, which once again is a Red Hat fork. So when I spin up, like I was spinning up a 3-tier network between 2 data centers in the Ohio region for failover, auto scaling groups, because that's the standard stuff. And once again, that's what I get tested on because I've been getting my AWS certs. What is a standard setup for a company? That's usually what it is: 3-tier, 2 different data centers spread out, I think, over 75 miles in case something happens. So, but now I only spin up Linux. That's all I rock with.
Okay. Yeah, and that's cool. I didn't know that I knew that Amazon had their own distribution of Linux. I didn't know that they, have forked Red Hat to create that. That's cool. That's cool. And that's one reason I haven't, I know I've been talking about my course. I didn't drop my course because I'm re-recording a lot of it. Because I was using Ubuntu, I was like, it might be best if I use Red Hat based. So yeah.
Ubuntu is finally getting accepted. I thought it was a stable distro, but they finally got sticks for it. Shout out to Gabe. I know he has the sticks, and I like to say I do a lot of IRS work. It's called the schisms with the sticks, but both of them got Red Hat and a distro, so you can use that for hardening. And that's why I tell a lot of people, when you practice, once you spin it up and get comfortable, the next part that you got to harden it so people can come in and scan it and make sure it's secure. So
exactly.
And I'm gonna do something Citizen Lose on the block is I've been on this app called Upworks, and a lot of times I win work so I shouldn't say play, but practice on stuff I can't do at work. So I'm working with some Indian dudes hardening their stuff because they got a government contract. So
okay. That's cool. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. And I got the information. I reviewed it. I just didn't have the time to apply for it. But
it's up to you. It's up to you. You won't hurt my feelings. I said, people I'm cool with. I sent something to Gabe. I sent something to you. I'm sure I sent something to Engine. Citizen Lose up there. Long story short, I do a lot of remote work. It's usually part-time. It's called Upworks. The weird thing is you got to bid on work against people from around the world. So sometimes it's a little weird what people charge in India, what I would charge you. But I win stuff. I try to make about 20 grand a year. I'm fat. I like to eat. So, and 2 is I get to work on skills that I can't work on at work. Right. So kind of win-win for everything.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. That is a way to actually get more experience as well, for people that are just trying to break into the game. They can, you have to have experience to win these contracts, but by showing that you have those skills by either taking certification or training, free training out there, you can sit there and keep applying until you get one, and that can help you get some experience.
Yeah, that's really my goal, and I need to start doing that more. Is my goal really actually to win enough work, especially in the compliance area, then sub it out to junior people, let them do the work. We take a cut, then they get experience, right? Then that's how you get experience on real world projects. Then 2 is that's what you can use as a part of your portfolio, because people really like to see you really put stuff in production, or you really help the client get certified, or you really help the person get compliance. That be HIPAA, FERPA for education, or I sent you some stuff, or spinning up some databases, right? But when you can win and actually get paid for doing it, that's what companies really like to see. So that's hopefully going to be the next thing I'm going to try to do.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and that leads me to another question I wanted to ask you about. All right, I'm studying for the practitioner's test. What's the best training material you found, for taking that course?
I sent it to you. I don't know if I want to put. I sent it to you in the back.
Did? You sent it to me?
I did.
Oh well, don't worry about it if you don't want to. Yeah, if you don't want to.
Yeah, I don't want to put. But 2 is I'm not trying to hide this. I think you got to figure out stuff that works for you, right?
Okay.
I don't mind mentioning. It's called Digital Cloud. It's this Australian guy. I really liked him. He do YouTube videos. Then 2 is when I looked it up, for me, I love practice exams. So each
Okay.
like practitioner exam, he had 250 questions.
Wow.
So, and he had like different levels. Like one is as you take the test, you get the answer right after. Then he's got some practice exams where you got to go through for like an hour, then you get them at the end. And he's got the final one where you really like taking a quiz. So you got this one where knowledge. So inside the practitioner, he have a test just on the VPC part or just on a database so you can practice. And they'd be hard to sell. The first time I started taking it, I was flunking it. But as I started going through it, and once I started doing that, I got comfortable. And like I said, I got 4 certs right now.
Okay.
I got 4 certs, so I'm really sit for the sits out. Shout out to JB, he passed that, so I think that's the next one. I'm actually practicing for one of the professional tests. So
Okay. Yeah,
I'm
and
doing
that's the
pretty.
thing, man. When you said the other day, can't remember what panel we was on or who we was talking to at the time, but it might have been Gabe's panel.
I think.
You said as soon as I took them AWS tests,
Oh
my
yeah.
LinkedIn started being lit up.
Every day I get somebody, man. I was getting very few hits, man. I was getting a start as soon as I got. As soon as I got 2, I got the practitioner and the associate architect.
Yeah.
Every email, you match, or people reached out to me. You want to interview for this certain position, man. And once I got the 4, I got the security one now too, man. I promise you,
Yeah.
every day I get a match on Indeed, or somebody reached out. I actually had an interview with the Silicon Valley company. I didn't
Okay.
get it, but once again, my box release started hopping. Before I got those certs, man, my box was a little dry, man.
Hey, and I can't lie. I mean, mine's dry right now as well. It seemed like it started slowing down because they looking for specific skills that I don't have. You know what I'm saying? And so
Fast.
like we always say, you can easily get left behind in the tech
Oh,
field.
fuck. That's why I'm grinding, man. And 2 is you a little younger than me, but the people that usually get left behind and don't rebound and I'm in that sweet spot. I'll be 55 this year. When you mix the curve at 55, you can't make a comeback. Number one, you old, and number 2, I make a lot of money. So if you don't stay on top of those skills, I know some dudes struggling, man, in 50s, man, because so I thought with my compliance with the AWS certs, and like I said, it's been working. So I'm great trying to hopefully win some stuff on AWS so I can spit up some stuff in real life. So that's what I'm working on now. But now, once I got those certs, now I know once I get the professional one, my stuff really gonna blow up.
Oh
So
yeah. When you get those professional certs along with your experience,
yeah.
yeah.
So yeah. So I'm gonna take,
Whole
like I
nother
said, the
level.
last associate. Then hopefully next month try to sit for one of the professional certs. Then shout out to engineering candidates. They got machine learning and data engineering certs now. I'm thinking about sitting for because AWS has their services for that. Shout out to engineering cannabis though. They they do they set up the models for you.
Yeah.
So they do a lot, but they have all those services for you. So I'm thinking about taking those too.
Yeah, you're gonna be AWS top.
Nah, because we talked about that a lot of times too. Is being general is cool, but usually like football or basketball, wide receivers and quarterback makes the money, man. So
Yeah.
I try to focus on that, get the engineering and start programming again. So that's really when I get those certs and really start labbing and building and programming more. And like I said, I took that digital cloud real Australian guy, and like I said, his learning techniques fits perfectly with how I like to learn.
Okay.
So then once I started doing it, I just got comfortable and I just started sitting for the certs. Shout out to Black Heights, one of his guys named Mr. Nick's got 50 certs. So I don't think I'm gonna get that many, but I'm
Yeah.
like, let's get it. I'm like, I'm gonna get all these AWS. So I'm trying to get probably 6. I think it's gonna come out to be 6 of them. So I'm on 4. So I'm kind of rolling. So I really need the 2 professional sysop and probably networking.
Yeah. I got you. And so shout out to Engineering Cannabis. I see you in the building. Daryl Banksy says, yo, I failed the XK0-0043 3 times. And I swear I read the OCG. What's OCG? Hold on.
I
The
don't know what
portal
that is.
command book. Well, XK0, I know he's talking about the Linux Plus
Oh, is that what that
exam by
is?
CompTIA. Yeah, because they
Okay,
just
okay.
released XK0-005, which is what my course is going to be on.
Facts, facts.
I'm not sure what OCG is. One thing that helped me, because I just passed XK0-005. I took the beta exam.
Okay.
And I don't know if you shelled out how much money you didn't shelled out for this or whatever, but it's the one by this book right here. Let me just go ahead and get it down. I went through this whole book right here and it helped me. The Linux Plus certification exam guide, all in one. It's on Amazon. I can't remember how much it costs, but I went through this book, page by page. Not every page. I skipped a lot of stuff that I already knew, but this book was able to help me pass the exam. And this book right here is for the XK0-004. And I passed the XK0-005 exam. And like I said, it was the beta. And I had never taken any of the other Linux Plus exams. I just, used this book. This is really one of the main books I used out of everything else. And then plus I lab all the time, you know what I'm saying? I'm always using Linux. I use Linux on my main system, Now I have to get on Windows for work, but anytime outside of work I'm on Linux, you know what I'm saying? So maybe that's why I had an easier time. But this is what I use. This one book is what really helped me. And then also, if you wanna just go on and pay the money to CompTIA has better training. They have training that's closely related to the test. They obviously gonna have training that's closely related to it because it's their tests at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So you might want to look into that as well. And I apologize. You failed 3 times, bro. I'm not sure. Maybe you got to pay for some. That's another thing. You may have to pay for some practice tests, like what Professor Blackout was just talking about. How he went through those, those training tests or
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
example tests that it treats it like the actual exam. They have some companies out there that put out those things. I don't know how they get access to those questions, which I didn't know that people could have access to those. I don't know how they get it. Let me just say that
Yeah.
because I know it's a company been out there for a long time. I had a account with them called actualtest.com, where they have all the tests that will end up on the exam. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know if you
Yeah.
want to use that, but I'm just saying though, that'll help you with getting familiar with the standardized testing because some people just not good at standardized testing. It's hard for
Facts,
them to
facts.
sit there and just take those tests, multiple choice, because they
Mm-hmm.
try to trick you and all this other stuff on those tests, and it's hard for them.
Yeah.
So, but if you want to add some, Professor Blackups, you can.
No, you was killing it. And like you said, the thing is, what was my man name again? I need my old life. Daryl was it? Yeah. Don't
Yeah,
give up,
Daryl.
man. I
Yeah,
failed a couple tests. Everybody's failed, man. Don't stop
yeah,
that from getting you a bag. And two is, I'm not disrespecting the test. I know people out of certified and can't program or Linux their way out of because you pass tests don't mean you good at the operating system too. So
exactly.
I wouldn't let this and KeepItTechie. That's one reason I picked this Australian guy is because they try to trick you and his course is kind of pointed out what the tricks was. Okay, if you're looking at this network VBC, they usually use this verbiage to try to trick you. So look for these particular phrases in this question, and that's going to actually point you to this, right? So that's
Mm-hmm.
one reason I picked this guy because, like KeepItTechie said, is a lot of times they try to trick you. Usually they have two answers super close, and you really got to know what you're doing because it's going to be a couple words that's going to be the right one and the wrong one, right? To make sure you delve into it. But I wouldn't let the 3 times stop you, man. Once again, I've been in this game for 30 years, man. I got MBAs and degrees in computer science. Sometimes everybody struggles with those tests. That's why I said you got to find the test thing or the way you like to learn, right? So I'm old. I know how I like to learn. I like the lab, and I like to take repetitive tests so you can like drill it in my mind. And two, I like how he points out those nuances to try to trick you. So I just like KeepItTechie said, whatever you need to do to pass, you need to figure that out and maybe pay a little bit more and get in there, man. That's all. I don't stop. Just get it, man. That's all I got. KeepItTechie.
Exactly. And shout out to KeepItTechie. Salute to you as well. He says waiting on that Linux course on Teachable from KeepItTechie. Yeah, I know, man. It's coming. But hey, check out the links. KeepItTechie dropped as well. He's a free voucher giveaway by Ian Neal. So definitely check that link out. Security Plus giveaway. So sign up for it. You can get a free voucher over there, so that's dope. And my man, Engineering Cannabis, I don't know if I shouted you out, but shout out to you, bro. He says, Professor Black Ops and KeepItTechie, this is the show. Yeah, definitely. We got me and PBO gonna have to make this a regular schedule. You know,
I'm up there. You know me. Anybody tell you now? I'm good. You drop the link, I'm coming. Game will tell you. Anybody drop? You know, I'm popping up if I'm in there. I'm popping up.
Yeah,
but like you said, I just thought this was a valuable talk just from the Linux point of view. And like you said, now we delving into test and search, right? Because search a lot of time is the bar to get in to make the money. And two is Security Plus is what was it, the 8550? Some search you need to get a government job and work on a contractor's job, right? You need is it 8550? I can't
8570.
Yeah, that's why I need you. I'm all KeepItTechie. I be messing it up. But you need some search to get in certain government jobs. A lot of times that's where the money's at. So that's the first one I ever got was Security Plus because I was on site at DOD and they came out with it. You need these certs to keep these positions. So I got it and I tried to pass the CISP and I missed it by 6 questions. Hurt my heart. And I should have went back and took it. And that's kind of one of the things I regret. So at the end of this year, I'm gonna start studying for the CISP, probably with Savage Scientist. He keeps talking about it. So I think we probably team up on the CISP. So
yeah, and we all have failed, like Professor Black Ops said. I've let me see, I'm trying to think of the name of that. I tried to take that Linux Foundation cert. It's the Systems Administration cert. I think it's LFSA or something like that. I don't know. But it's a Linux Foundation Systems Administration cert for Linux, the Linux operating system. And their cert is totally different from it's no multiple choice, no fill in the blank, none of that. It's strictly configuring or making changes to a virtual machine that they set up for you to connect to. And you have to set up the server, configure certain things. You got to create accounts, and they don't care how you do it. They just want you to, hey, you have to accomplish these tasks, and go through each one of them. They had a virtual machine set up for you. It's a difficult test, and it's supposed to be like their easiest test, but it's difficult. It's way more, difficult, and I think eventually it'll be more recognized in the industry as well. These tests, because you have to physically go in and they allow you to pick whatever distribution you want to use, whether it's Ubuntu or Debian, I believe. Well, Ubuntu and then CentOS or one of those Red Hat, Fedora or something like that. That you can use to manage, and you have to do a whole bunch of configuring on it. You gotta be able to pull logs from the system and write them out to files. So you got to understand the sed command. You got to understand a whole bunch of commands in order to accomplish this test or this exam. You know what I'm saying? And I think last time I need to go back and go and pay for it again and take it, because the last time I took it, I got a 69%. I was right there.
Okay, you right there. That hurt. That hurt. When you so close, just like one question. Yeah. Shout out to Struggle Security. I mean, struggle, because a lot of times you're gonna struggle on some stuff, and like you said, we got to normalize it. And that's really, even at my age, it's levels to this. You got to keep your skills up. And sometimes new technology comes out. Everybody's starting out a ground run. I might have some things that I can look back on, but a lot of times when you learn AWS, Azure, GCP, a lot of those terms, and when you go on those consoles, those are new concepts and new terms. So you just got to grind and learn like everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But I mean, we've all, messed up in certain situations when it comes to these tests. So not everybody's perfect, you know what I'm saying? And just keep pushing.
I wouldn't even call it messing up, man. It's just part of the process, man. You're gonna learn, and some tests you're gonna knock out the park, and some tests, you're gonna be like, I need to study some more, or I need to get on that lab. For me, that's just part of the process. I wouldn't even, if you don't, if you don't pass, just keep studying, take it again, man. It's part, especially the higher you go up, man, because the AWS test I'm about to take, JB passed it is. You actually got to get on the console and they give you 3 lives. Like you said, you got to configure it on the fly. And I think you get like 20 minutes to configure what they ask you for. So that's the new thing. A lot of people, companies want you to do hands-on because once again, I'm not disrespecting. A lot of people pass these certs ain't never configured that in real life.
Yep.
Right. So you do when you do production, you can get PSTD, man. Stuff can go wrong, left. Everybody's staring at you. So I worked on big production systems, so I think they want you to get that feel, man. So when you really on site and stuff go left, you got to be able to handle it, and that's how you get the bag, man. I tell people I make my money when stuff go left and shit break down and stuff don't work. That's when you pay me. If it's running smooth, you don't need to pay PBO. Yep. I make my money when it goes left. That's what I tell people.
Yeah, exactly, man. And just like what Tech just said, he said, you just pick yourself up and try again. Yep, exactly. I agree.
Yeah, for me, it's just part of the process. Was if I pass, cool. If I don't, I'm just gonna keep studying, just pay again. Like I said, it's just part. I just think it's part of the game. And now certs are just people ask for them, they're so recognized. And now to get through HR, a lot of times you gotta have certain certs to even make it to the next level for people to even interview. I think that's what's knocking me out for a minute was I didn't really have any certs. So that's kind of why I went on the AWS spin.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't know. I always have it in my mind like what direction I want to go, and I can never settle on what direction because it's constantly changing. Like I never saw myself doing database administration at all. I never wanted to get into that. I knew I was good with spreadsheets, but I mean, that was just part of the job in all areas of IT, just understanding spreadsheet because you gotta, do reports and filter, data depending on what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And so I just never wanted to go that route. So I've always been like bouncing around what direction I need to go, and just never settling on a specific certs or different types of certs to actually get. That's why I only got 3. You know what I'm saying? I think I would have had more if I knew exactly what I wanted or if I got into exactly what I wanted to do, Because I think I told you I was going to do the Cisco route at one point.
Yeah, that ain't a bad route, man. I'm already on Network Bruh and Dewan Lightfoot. I'm on Network Bruh. He actually labs every day more than Dewan, I think weird things. I think Dewan worked for AWS, right? Because they got their
AWS. Yep.
Oh man, they're making crazy money. Somebody reached out to me, man, for some AWS, the money they were paying because they give you stock options and bonuses, man. It's crazy over there.
Those golden handcuffs, like what Gabe said.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. but the thing too is like KeepItTechie said, how I look at it is just a little different. Is if I learn something for the year, it's just gonna stack on what I already learned. Because I started off as a programmer touching a database, right? Then the next thing I know, they were like, oh, can you configure a web server? Touching the database, like Kev, shout out to Kev Tech. I was labbing every day, so I set that stuff on my laptop. So I got the right. Like, I think I can set up. Next thing I know, I'm on the web team specialized in Java, connected to the Oracle database because I did it on my laptop, right? So then after I did that, then I became an Oracle DBA because I was just working with the database in Java so much. Then after that, I was on the application team. right? So those skills stack on each other. Then
Mm-hmm.
so I started doing full stack in the back end. They were like, well, they start trading me on security to lock it all down because I knew kind of each one of those pieces, right? So they just kind of start stacking on each other.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's dope, man. Now this is gonna be like the last question I want to ask you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I started seeing a couple articles last week about hiring freezes and layoffs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What do you? I just want to hear your thoughts on where you think we're going. You know, I guess if the because I mean, yeah, I keep hearing also that
Mm-hmm.
the tech jobs are booming. You know what I'm saying? But with
Mm-hmm.
this layoff, it's kind of causing people to panic or scare away
Mm-hmm.
from it. What are your thoughts though on it?
Um, I think it's both. I think what happened is everybody ramped up for I want to call it the base level jobs, right? But
Mm-hmm.
now if you got those skills, if you got cloud skills, they still hiring because
Yeah,
nobody understand the cloud, right? If you engineering cannabis and you got machine learning AI, right? That's like we talked about, that's a specialty skill,
specialties. Yep.
right? Like we talked about, wide receivers and quarterback gets paid. So I think if you got a specialty skill, cybersecurity is a part of that too. And two is having your background cool, get a background check so you can. I had in government contracts. Number one is when you do government work, you got to be a United States citizen or have a green card, right? So you
Exactly.
can have the government. But for me, I think the specialty is okay. I just think the average the average IT guy could be in a little problem. Two is like it's always a pendulum. Those companies overhired, man. They were hiring like 2,000-3,000 people a year. Like a friend of mine worked at Salesforce. I was actually interviewing for them. When I interviewed, they said they put a hiring freeze because they hired 3,000 security people over the last 2 years. Right. So they got to figure out if those people are making money or if they shaking out. So I just think that's part of the curve. If you got a specialty skill, I think you'll be okay, or a higher level up skill. And if you look though, there's still a ton of open jobs. I think those 30,000 people are going to get absorbed pretty quick. But once again, they're going to be looking for a certain skill. You're a PHP programmer, or you or AI or MI, or you doing
Mm-hmm.
security, right? They're going to be looking for a certain set of skill sets. So I think you're all right if you're in the right skill set.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I agree with that. And one of the articles I read, because I was gonna see if I wanted to see if you was gonna bring this up or not, but they predicting that we may be going into a recession.
Oh yeah, we going. We
So
going.
yeah, yeah,
I think we're going to. But the crazy thing is, I'm always lucky. The last 3 recessions I've been in, I was at DoD contract, and I always tell people tax money's infinite. When you
yeah,
work for the government, if you got a spot, right? So you just got to, and the bigger companies too, right? If you're at the bigger companies, those big companies print money. All right. So if
mm-hmm,
you had a small startup, you could be in problem. But if you had a major, especially a government company, the Navy, they're not letting it, they're not laying anybody off,
yeah,
right? If you're in a certain skills. Now, if you might lay it, now if you consult if they're doing a certain contract or certain thing they're trying to do, like, but the overall, I think they're good. I
yeah,
would batten down the hatches because I think it's about to get ugly out here,
mm-hmm,
especially with the inflation. The cool thing though is this sector, tech bros and technology seems currently to be pretty stable, even with the 30,000 layoffs. I mean,
yeah,
if you look at they're probably coming from the biggest of the big companies, right? They laying off 5,000, 10,000 people, right? So, but two is those 30,000 aren't they're in IT, but part of that's networking, part of that's programming, part of that's, help desk, part of that's right. So it's not like one specific place in IT. IT is
yeah,
a big domain too. I think we talk a lot like it's one thing, it's probably 100 different domains. When you
yep,
talk about PMs, agile, like we just talked about DBAs, programmers, web admins. I mean, when you start breaking it out, so
yeah. Yeah, I agree. Hey, and that Fed money though is almost infinite, man. We used to joke
wow.
overseas talking about who is that? George W. Bush, our favorite president.
Yeah,
Cause
man.
he started that war over there, man, and
Man.
we was making big money over there, you
Man,
know,
I almost
on
went over there and
BOD.
got some. Yeah, I
Yeah.
almost went overseas and got some. I just got married, or I probably would have went. They were asking me to go over and do some work, but no. But like I said, 30,000 once again is a lot of people. And two is, which the sad part is, those probably 20% of those people over 50, they might not come back. But so that's why you got to be careful of what skill set you learn and keep grinding, right? Because the older you get, the more money you make. So you need to make sure you in the most sought after skill set. So
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, we gonna go it on and end it, fellas. I appreciate you coming on, PBO. Definitely, it's always a pleasure to have you come on and talk tech with me, man. The panel was open. I'm gonna try to start doing it where I open it up so people can come through. If you guys want to come through, you got questions about the tech field or getting into the tech field, feel free to come up and talk about it or ask, and I'll do my best to try to help you or whoever's here. You know what I'm saying?
but
PBO said if I drop the link, he'll be up here. So
I mean, they tell you,
he'll be
Gabe will
here.
tell you,
Yeah.
I'm coming. Oh, people ain't got nothing to do at night. I'm coming.
Yeah.
Shout out. I
And
always enjoy
Snuggles
it, man.
is pinned to the top if you want to come. I know you're not coming up, Snuggles.
I know Snuggles, my favorite troll. I haven't seen her in a while. Shout out
Yeah.
to Snuggles.
Shout out to Snuggles. Yeah. But yeah, shout out to everybody. Shout out KeepItTechie. Thanks for coming through, man. Dropping that. Yeah, and definitely check out. Let me copy that link again. But if you're trying to get a voucher for Security Plus, who was that? KeepItTechie dropped the link earlier in the stream. Let me copy what he posted and put it down there again for anybody that want to get into it. And then also, if you want to check out the article I just went through earlier in the stream, to I don't know, that's talking about the botnet that's attacking SSH servers. So I dropped that link again. It'll be down in the description. After I close out the stream, I'll put it down there as well, because that's what the video as well as the article is what prompt me to do this stream. PBO did a video on this botnet that's actually brute forcing SSH servers, and so I figured I need to do a live stream as well talking about it as well, and that's why I shared his post as well, so you guys can check out what he's talking about. Actually go over to his channel, subscribe, check out what he's got going on over there. He's definitely doing great things, as well as a lot of other people in the tech in this little tech network that we creating over here. You know, but shout out to everybody that came through again. Shout out KeepItTechie. I definitely, appreciate all you guys for coming through. Gabe for donating as well. But I hope you guys have a good and productive weekend. And peace.